Okay, so this is the end of the year, and one of the things that we need to get accomplished right now is that you have been in this class since September, most of you, and we've been working on a bunch of different skills, a bunch of different things that we've been doing. They're generally life skills, but what needs to happen here is we've done a bunch of recycled art, and we've sat there and we've worked through all of these things, and we need to now take what we've learned and get it to a point where we use it into something that is in our world. Hi, girls. How are you? So what ends up happening here is you are taking some of this stuff and some of the projects that we have done before, and you're going to make something that's actually going to take you 4 weeks. It needs to speak to you personally. You need to be able to say why you did this piece, what you did with this piece, and what it means to you, kind of a thing. That is the goal for a visual arts program. For your electives like music, art, things like that, you need to be able to take those things and bring them back into how it works for you or what it means to you, or be personal about your presentation. Behind me right now are some internet examples and some past student examples of what they've done with their work. Now sometimes it's a really hard thing to take your artwork and have it say something that you want it to say. I get that, it is hard. And sometimes there were some students that were just like working on things that they weren't necessarily that involved with, but you know, you and I both know that we look at these projects for a couple of weeks, right? You want it to mean something to you because God, you don't want it to be something that that you're tired of looking at. So we have the rolled paper projects, we have the pattern projects, we have the wire sculptures, we have the embroidery, we have all of these things that we have done where you can take and do this. I'm asking you to bring in, and some of you have already done this, so if you started your embroidery project and you brought in something, that's probably something that you should be working on for the next 4 weeks. And we can talk about this and work with it and do something like that, because you know what? Those pants were cool, they were important to me, it was great. We got together, we worked on this, we did that with it. I mean, it's something that if you actually wore those pants, it would be, yeah, it was like this, and then they kind of got trapped. I mean, the story that goes behind that piece of art for you is equally as important as just the piece of art. Do you get what I'm saying? So, that's an idea. Obviously, the pattern project, they put it on a shirt. So you are going to have to participate in this. Okay, embroidery. If you're doing embroidery, I get a lot of embroidery that is not necessarily more than what you did before. That's what I'm asking you to do right now. This is that example. She had great kid, did this. She wanted to do that, but she only threw in like 1 stitch. Your projects were taking and combining different stitches, right? I need you to go and I need you to learn about a new stitch too. Where do you suppose you go to learn about a new stitch? YouTube, right? Everything that you need to know is on YouTube. This is one of the skills you were meant to learn, and that's great. But if you need to know how to do something, you can go on YouTube and you can find anything you need to find. They will tell you how to fix the brakes on your car. They will tell you anything, whatever you need. So what you need to do is we need to take what we've learned, make it personal, and then kind of expand on that. And this is a 4-week project. You have 4 weeks to get this done. Actually, we'll say 3 because that last week is kind of, but it goes up until finals. So what you need to do is you need to come up with a really good idea. I need about a paragraph on, let's say your idea, it's on Google where it says, you know what, you need to do this, 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 and this. You need to tell me why you want to do what you want to do, and actually it may end up being a couple more than one or 2 paragraphs. The skill that you're going to be, demonstrating your knowledge of, basically you are defending your work in this class right now. You're saying, you know what, I learned this and I know I can do this better than what I did before. So any of the projects that you did before that you weren't necessarily thrilled with, this is your opportunity to say, you know what, I really like doing those things, but what I want to do with that. Does anybody have an idea right off the top of their head? Favorite project? The embroidery? Okay, that's pretty easy. What do you got? The bracelet? Okay, with the bracelet, there are pictures up there. You learned one way to do it. There are other ways to do that. You need to also pay attention to like color selection. You need to think about your materials. You need to do da-da-da-da-da-da. This is the part where you say, okay, now I'm smart. I'm going to prove it to you, and I can do these things. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about what I'm asking for right now, or is it clear enough for you? This is going to involve us talking to each other and working with each other. Don't just start on something because you decided this is what I'm going to do. Again, as always, no cartoon characters, nobody else's artwork, blah, 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 blah. What you need to do, you can take a picture and I can show you how to take your picture and turn it into to artwork for this. Or if you have a picture source from the internet that isn't like too, I don't know how to say this, too famous. If you have a famous picture kind of a thing, that's where we run into problems because we actually need to produce something for like the student show and other things. And when you start plagiarizing other people's works, we start running into problems. This is the pattern project. That's the roll paper project. Let's go through this really quick. The B project, obviously, and you see how they went through, they got some other things they added on. There is more to this than just what we did before. You all are going to have to do some like material hunting, figure out what you want to do, figure out what you want to use. If I have it, you are certainly welcome to it, but you might have to like do some work for this project that doesn't involve me. Does that make sense? And I mean, I know a lot of your other classes have you do that too, so this is not something that's too out of line except for the fact that I usually give you everything that you ever needed. But there are a million places to get these things with dollars. God, half of you probably have beads hanging around your house, don't you? So, the letters project, this one's harder to expand on because it's like, what are you going to do with that? Does anybody have an idea what you could do with that? There we go. So that one's harder. The pattern project, this is good, but you also want to take and you want to put it on something that's archival. Do you know what archival means? Archives, have you ever heard of that? Does anybody know? Anybody got a guess as to what like a term that is? Archival means that it's going to last for a long time. Archives are where people store things that are important. It's like the library, things like that. So it's got to be archival. It's going to be something that's going to last longer than you. Okay? All right, so we're good, right? Nobody has a question? All right, you need to have a proposal together. It needs to be posted by Wednesday so that we can talk about this. If you need to talk to me about it, let's do that. You already know what you're doing. Get it all written out. There's instructions on Google Plus as to what's supposed to be included in that paragraph or two.